Welcome to the Conscience of Kansas radio show with Paul A. Ibbetson, a no-nonsense conservative talk show that looks at the local, state, and national issues that affect the people of Kansas. And now, here's Paul A. Ibbetson.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joel Arends is the Executive Director of Vets for Freedom. He was deployed to Iraq in 2004, where he served as an infantry platoon leader in Baghdad and provided security for the Iraqis as they went to this historic elections, the first they'd had in over 50 years. He currently serves in the United States Reserve Army as a captain. Joel holds the Bronze Star for his time in Iraq. He was recognized as so by the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. He is an Iowa native and holds undergraduate and law degrees from the University of South Dakota, and he is the executive director of Vets for Freedom. And Joel Arends, we'd like to welcome you to the Conscience of Kansas radio program.
Great to be here, Paul. Thanks for having me on.
Well, you know, it's our pleasure to do so, and we really support Vets for Freedom. And folks, you can find their website at www.vetsforfreedom.org. And Joel, could you tell our Conscience of Kansas listeners a little bit more about yourself and a little bit about Vets for Freedom?
You know, I'd be happy to. Vets for Freedom was founded just a few short years ago, but we already have 27,000 members across the U.S. We have state chapters in all 50 states. These are motivated Iraq and Afghanistan veterans who believe in their cause. They believe that we need to achieve success and victory in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. And I think that's why you've really seen a lot. You've seen our organization grow to the size that it is. I mean, we're the largest Iraq-Afghanistan vets advocacy organization in the country right now.
Wow.
And, I mean, certainly we view what we're doing with Vets for Freedom now simply as an extension of what we've done in uniform. And certainly we're glad to be here, and it's certainly thanks to organizations like yours, shows like yours, who are willing to have us come on. So we appreciate it.
Well, you know, it's our pleasure to do that, and we certainly support groups here. Manhattan, what we call the Little Apple, is centered right by one of the biggest military stations in Fort Riley that we have here in Kansas. And so we certainly see our fighting men and women both shipping to and coming back from stages and operations to defend this country. And you guys have been doing some shipping out of your own. You guys went, if I'm correct, to Iraq to do some observations since the surge. And do you have some reports from that endeavor?
We do, Paul. And just so your listeners know, myself and 7 other Iraq combat vets went back to Iraq for the last 2 weeks. We got back this last weekend, and really it's an effort to give a boots-on-the-ground perspective from returning vets so that we can go view the progress, view some of the successes that have been created because of the work of our troops, and then we come back here and in partnership with media organizations like mine, which was nationalreview.com, we're able to get the story out about some of those successes that we've seen. And one of the biggest changes we've seen on the ground is not only a dramatic decrease in violence and increase in security, but it's an entire change of mind among not only American soldiers but Iraqi troops as well. And that is, since we've adopted the General Petraeus' counterinsurgency strategy, you know, attacks in Baghdad have gone from 400 to 4 a day. When I was there in 2004, it was an incredibly violent situation. Today, what we have is a situation where we have local shopkeepers, local neighborhoods telling us that they have a much more safe situation now as a result of the calm and the reduction in violence that the surge brought. So we're seeing some gains there, but we're also seeing gains in the because we've been able to effectively partner with the people of Iraq through the Iraqi Army, through Iraqi security forces. When I was there in 2004, I served as an infantry platoon leader with the Army's 1st Cav Division, and we would routinely bring Iraqi Army recruits out on the street with us to patrol the streets, to help us integrate with the locals, with society there. And one of the things that we found, I mean, this was very apparent, was that the Iraqi Army recruits would not stay and fight. They would retreat immediately upon taking fire. We would engage the enemy in a fight, and they would fire off an AK clip, and they would run away. Today, we see just the opposite. We see a much more professional force, much more competent fighting force. We have larger numbers of Iraqi Army personnel and Iraqi security forces. And what we see is that because of the training they've received from coalition forces and American fighting men, what we see today with the Iraqi Army troops is they want to take the fight to the enemy, because they now believe, just like the people of Iraq do, that their future is not with Al-Qaeda. Their future is not with other terrorist organizations like Sadr's militia.
Right.
They understand that they have a future in being able to partner with American forces and with a Western culture, and that we actually are looking out for their best interest. And we see that reflected not only with the local shopkeepers, but also with the way that members of the Iraqi Army are helping us to fight this fight.
Well, it seems that time is helping, time to train people, but it seems also that the surge has just been very instrumental in increasing stability to where all of these different processes can go forward, whether it be training, whether it be the partner building, can move forward in a calm and collected fashion. But one thing, I've noticed, Joel, back here in the States, listening to the news, is we had all these barrages of negative media reports about things in Iraq for such a long time, and now it's gone silent. And you don't hear hardly anything from the media. We still hear the collective efforts from those that the cut and run people saying we need to get out. But as far as trying to bring and barrage the nation with negative reports, you hear nothing. And I think that may be a fact of because there's actually positive things happening, but you don't hear the positive things when you turn on your radio. I had dust shoot out of my radio the other day when I was trying to get some information. And so I think it's very important that folks like you at the Vets for Freedom are giving us some reports on what's actually going on, some boots on the ground reports from Iraq, because now that positive things are coming from the surge, it seems to me, and I may be biased, but it seems to me that the media has just shut down all reporting. What do you think in that nature?
Well, Paul, certainly we've seen that. To go back to what we're seeing today or what we're not seeing from the media, I think you're absolutely right. That is a direct result of some of the success we've seen over there, because if it bleeds, it leads, right, unfortunately, in media circles. And all that mainstream media seems to want to cover is when there's a spectacular, violent incident executed by Al-Qaeda. But what Vets for Freedom did is partner with other news organizations to go back and talk about these successes that we're achieving, because that is the real story here, is really that we not only have courageous and skilled and determined warriors who are fighting for America, but they're also fighting for the people of Iraq. It's not only because of them that we've been able to do this, but it's really a change in the strategy. We implemented the surge. President Bush announced it January of 2007. We're seeing results from it, and it's because of this change in strategy where we partner with the people of Iraq to help us to help them rebuild their country, that we've been able to not only bring about a more safer security situation, but we're also now able to restore essential services.
Right.
We're able. I was at the first annual Karata District Chamber of Commerce meeting while I was there. And at that meeting, many of the shopkeepers and the local business owners in the area were talking about restoring essential services. They wanted more electricity. They wanted micro-generation programs where the American Army comes in and sets up a micro-power generator in their neighborhood to help restart the economy. They wanted some of the micro-loan programs and the micro-grants that we've now set a system up for. And they were no longer talking about needing to have fences and wires and these big concrete barriers to wall off the rest of the street from their businesses because they're worried about car bombs. Now they're worried about bringing people in instead of keeping people out.